Once again, welcome back to our class. Last class we discussed on the early persecution, and we first mentioned about what are the things that we need to remember when we study this topic, persecution. Especially, we said we need to be aware about hagiography. Then we said don't blame all the persecutions on the emperors, or and some of the fanatic Christians seeking out martyrdom was also a reason for persecution. And also it was not just a emperor or a Christ versus Caesar contest. It was we can see in many places, because of Christians withdraw from the civilian activities. That was one of the reasons for the persecution. Then we saw the first century persecution, and especially persecution under Nero, and then persecution under Domitian also we studied. Of course, we little bit mentioned about the persecution at the time of Trajan as well. Now, this today's class we are going to study on the sporadic persecution of the 2nd and 3rd century. Sporadic persecution, sudden persecution that happened in the Roman Empire. So, complete separation from Judaism left Christianity more exposed to mob and official persecution. We need to understand, in the beginning, Christianity was a sect of Judaism, or Christianity was part of Judaism. And when Christianity was part of Judaism, Jews had several privileges. One of the privileges they had was practicing their religion. Wherever they were in the Roman Empire, they had that privilege of practicing their religion. There was no question of, there was no issue for the Jews to practice their religion in the Roman Empire. But that was not the case for the Christians. When they came out of Judaism, Christianity became an illegal religion, and Christians were considered as atheists by the Roman government. So the complete separation from Judaism left Christianity more exposed to mob, especially to the mob group of people, and official persecution from the government. The cry was, this was the cry, or the people shouted always, away with the third race. Christianity or Christians were considered as a third race, a race that was even below the lower grade people. And the bitterness of Jews and Gentiles shows in the way Jews collected firewood on the Sabbath for Polycarp, or for Polycarp's martyrdom. That if you want to know that, you need to read the book written by Eusebius, or New Eusebius, page 26. You can easily understand, you can see that. If you read the book of the Revelation, we see a particular church, with the church at Smyrna. So at the church at Smyrna, we see how the tribulation that they had, they underwent. And in that, it's very clearly mentioned by Apostle John that it was mainly from the Jews in that place. We see there was a church or a synagogue of Satan. That is what John mentioned about the synagogue. Means they claimed that they were Jews, but it was a synagogue of Satan. So only Satan can insist people to do such kind of cruel activities against Christians or their own brothers. So we can see the bitterness of Jew and even Gentiles shows in the way Jews even collected firewood on the Sabbath. Jews never work on the day of Sabbath normally, but here we see even on a Sabbath the Jews were very active in collecting firewood. For what? For Polycarp's martyrdom. Polycarp was the bishop of Smyrna, one of the disciples of Apostle John, and he became a martyr that we will study later. So he was burned alive, and for that martyrdom or for that execution, even the Jews in Smyrna or Jews in that locality were very active in collecting firewood. Of course, he might have he became a martyr, may not be in Smyrna, but we know that the Jews were very active even on Shabbat to collect firewood. And major debate exists as to whether Christians were persecuted under a general law banning Christianity. That is what we need to clearly study. Was there a general law in the Roman Empire to persecute Christianity, or whether governors took action as part of their broader duty of maintaining peace and order? In Latin we call it as coercio. Okay, so the major doubt here or major debate here is whether there was a law to persecute Christians or a general law banning Christianity, or whether governors took action as part of their broader duty of maintaining peace and order. No, see, this is the truth. No general law has ever been discovered. Even Tertullian does refer to Judaism as a lawful religion, that is religio licita. In his Apology 21.2, he mentioned that Judaism was a lawful religion or legal religion, that means, or religio licita, which could imply that other religions may be illicita or religio illicita. So Christianity was an illegal religion. That was the main reason. Not because there was a general law to persecute Christians, but Christianity became an illegal religion. Judaism had the privilege of religio licita, means legal religion. But here we see Christianity became an illegal religion. Judaism was a legal religion. When Judaism was a legal religion, when Christianity was part of Judaism, Christianity also had that privilege of being a legal religion. At that time, major persecution was from the Jews. But once Christianity came out of Judaism, Christian sect or Christianity became an illegal religion or religio illicita. Religio illicita. Religio illicita means illegal religion. It is not an approved religion. So it was more exposed to the mobs and it was more exposed to persecution. Not here, again, the correspondence between Pliny the Younger and the Emperor Trajan that happened in 112 AD that we see in New Eusebius 1821. See that Pliny assumes that being a Christian is in itself an offense. That is what Pliny the Younger mentioned in the letter to Trajan. Being a Christian itself is not lawful because it's an illegal sect. It's an illegal sect. So Trajan here mentioned in his letter to Pliny the Younger was writing to Emperor Trajan, mentioning that I found a group of people having a different type of practice here, and they were not part of the legal religious system of the Roman Empire. They are part of religio illicita, means they were not part of the legal religious system of the Roman Empire. See that Pliny assumes that being a Christian itself is in itself an offense, and this may be because it threatens the religious status quo. It can threat the religious status quo. Not how he stressed that his actions have led to a re-strengthening of traditional religious practices. So Pliny was actually trying to bring a very strong religious system, religious practice, or re-strengthening of traditional religious practices, and he found a group of people who are not part of any legal religious system. So they were considered as religio illicita. That means it's an illegal religion, and when a sect became illegal, they were more exposed to the mobs for persecution and also exposed for other kinds of persecutions. And this may be because it threatens the religious status quo of the nation. And he does not take charge of flagitio. Okay, Pliny in his letter never or did not even mention that this group practicing flagitio. Flagitio means cannibalism and incest. There was a misconception in the early period about Christians that they were practicing cannibalism. Cannibalism means eating of human flesh and drinking human blood. So there was a misunderstanding among the people in the Roman Empire in many places that Christians had the practice of flagitio, that they eat human flesh and drink human blood, because these people, they misunderstood the concept of communion that they had, and he did not mention that. So he even Pliny said, if they release, he is ready to release Christians if they deny their faith and if they accept a legal religious system in the Roman Empire. He said he is ready to even send them out without punishment. So in that sense, we can see that Christians became the persecution on Christians was mainly from the mob, because Christianity was an illegal religion. So and we can see that imperial policy was not ruthlessly determined to exterminate Christianity. There was no special imperial policy from the emperor to eradicate Christianity or to exterminate Christianity. But Trajan says that Christians are not to be sought out. So the crucial role of local mobs, that is what, even today, if you look at the persecutions that happen for Christians, what happened in Orissa? It was not from the government. Government was silent in certain times, but it was basically from the mob. The persecution that happened to Christianity was generally happened from the mob, and many of the local persecutions were forced on reluctant governors by popular feeling, or in other words, we can say mob psychology. A group of people come together and they blame Christians for some issue, and that is how the persecution happened. Many times it happened in the Roman Empire. Many places we can see. I can list a number of evidences in the early church regarding this sporadic persecution from the mob. So let me say a few examples regarding that. It starts from Christ itself. Pilate himself said, I did not see anything wrong in this man, but he was crucified. Because of the mob gathered there, they demanded his execution. So because of that, they executed Christ or Jesus. Then Polycarp in 156 was triggered by the shout of the mob. The mob said, away with the atheist, search for Polycarp. That is written in New Eusebius 24. We see that, away with the atheist, search for Polycarp. So it was a group, a mob psychology worked there for the execution of Polycarp. And the events at Lyons and Vienna in 177 shows the same pattern. So it says, first of all, they nobly endured the attacks which the whole mass of people heaped upon, clamorous, blows, hailing, plundering, stoning, confinements, and all that, and infuriated mobs want to employ against foes and enemies. Then they were conducted to the marketplace by the tribune and authorities over the city. That means First, the mob, the group of people instigated by some religious leaders of Jews and other sects, they instigated mob against Christians, and that resulted in the persecution. And Christians did not get any support from the government because it was an illegal sect. Then again, the mob violence against Christians at Alexandria in 248 AD, and a little prior to the onset of the Decian persecution. So everywhere we see the same pattern, that mob was very active, sporadic persecution. Suddenly persecution appeared in one place because Christianity was an illegal sect and Christianity did not get any privilege from the government, and the Christianity was exposed to the mob, and because of that persecution happened against Christians from the mob and instigated by some religious leaders, and the emperors and other leaders were silent when Christians were persecuted, and they also became part of that persecuting group because Christianity was an illegal sect. So today we study about the sporadic persecution of the 2nd and 3rd century, and I am going to send you one note also along with that. That is the chronological order of the early Christian persecution. So you can go through that and you can find it. Thank you.